Alright, Budget Magic, Reanimator in Standard. This is alright-ish. Lead on the tap land. What are we up against? Blue-white control? Well, let's just play Evolving Wilds. Could have played the Scob, but we kind of want to get these tap lands out of our deck. So I guess we want a forest. Now we'll play a Scob. What do we mill? Green Warden and Llanowar Waste. Play another Wilds. Hopefully there's not like a Gideon coming down right here. That would be bad. Now we need an island. Alright, let's start attacking. And we'll just play Swamp and attempt to resolve a Sidisi. Ojutai's Command. Counter draw. Bladed Cataract. I love that card. Well, let's try to Necromantic Summons this Green Warden. Actually, no. Let's gather the pack. New goal is to resolve Dig Through Time. Then we can Necromantic Summons next turn. Do we want Ulamog in our hand? Probably not. We already got one in our hand. So we'll just mill all 5. And ship the turn. Alright, let's dig through time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Clash X1. How many counters does this deck have? Well, now what? Let's Screeching Scob. Mill a couple more cards. Leaf Gilder. Ship the turn. At least now we have a clock. And we just drew a Green Warden. Alright, let's attack with our Scob. And try to resolve this Green Warden. Green Warden is so good against control decks if it resolves. They really have another counter. Scatter with Awaken. Alright. They did have a ton of counters, no doubt. They're down to 3 cards, though. And they have an Ugin. Alright. Shoots down our Leaf Gilder. So I guess we attack Ugin. And we are reanimating Ulamog and hoping that that's good enough. If they have an answer to Ulamog, we probably just lose to that Ugin. We're still 4 lands away from hard casting the one in our hand. So they basically need Quarantine Field, Stasis Snare, and they have Stasis Snare. Well, they had it all. That was pretty unfortunate. Problem is, if we did it the other way and got back a Green Warden, it would have just got exiled by Ugin anyway. Land and War Waste, not really what we wanted. And dig, alright. Well, we need to bring in our anti-control package. Get rid of Languishes, get rid of Murderous Cut, get rid of Scout the Borders, get rid of Leaf Guilders, and just try to out-control our opponent. Alright, let's see if this goes a little smoother. Not a great opening hand, but it's keepable, I guess. We don't have any of our control cards, which is a little frustrating. Those are the cards we want in this matchup. We do have multiple Sidisi's, so if we can get one of those to stick, that would be nice. Sack this, get a swamp, I guess, since we have 2 Yavmayakos. Well, just play another Revolving Wilds. Now we'll get an island, I think. And Sidisi number 1 resolves. The bigger deal about that is it fuels our dig, which is really helpful. So I mean our opponent doesn't have any counters for creatures? What are the odds? We wouldn't mind finding some counters of our own. Remember, we're the control deck now, or more of a control deck. Gideon makes a knight. Well, let's send them both at Gideon. Mill and Ulamog. Trades the knight. Gideon goes to 1. And now we are just going to Necromantic Summons this Ulamog and make our opponent have an answer. Good old turn 5 Ulamog. What this does do is it makes it really hard for our opponent to keep Gideon alive, because if they're going to stasis snare or something, that's going to take up most of their turn, and they probably won't be able to deal with our other creatures, and then we can kill Gideon. If they can't answer Gideon, then they're basically just done for. It doesn't take much for, or if they can't answer Ulamog. Sure. Why not? Yes. So what's the plan now? I think this can attack the Planeswalker and still exile, right? Yeah, let's attack Gideon. Exile 20 cards. Excuse me. They have a ton of counters. Counters, Wraths, Gideons, I mean, blue-white control, I guess. Do they block to keep Gideon alive? You would assume so. Alright, so Night Token down. Now I think we just dig while our opponent's tapped out, see if we can find some counters. And we can get rid of a Sidisi, I guess, since we have more. And I guess we just take Negate and... do we want another dig? We can't cast 2 negates this turn anyway. Let's just take both negates. Opulent Palace. Ship the turn. Can we ride this Ulamog to victory? Makes another knight. I mean, the chump blocking's keeping their life total up, but their library is diminishing rapidly. Whoo! And now we got 3 negates. Well, we should be able to win a counter war now. Yeah. Let's just counter the dig. Attack Gideon. Exiles 20 more. So now I think we win just because I don't think our opponent can kill us. Yeah. So we get to peek through their deck. Scatter. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, Celestial Flare. Worth knowing about. 2 Celestial Flares. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have a lot of counters. Counters, digs, wraths, and Stasis Snare, I guess. And Celestial Flare. And Gideon. So that's the deck. So Languish isn't good. Murderous Cut isn't good. Scout the Borders isn't good. Leaf Gilder would be alright, but I think we need the Duresses and counterspells more. So let's run it back. Oh, jeez. Got a Duress, got a Dispel, got a Negate, but only 1 land? I think we gotta ship it. That's better. This time we have the Duress and the Negate and lands. I don't think we need Opulent Palace. Might end up regretting that, but we'll see. Dig. Let's just lead an Opulent Palace. Two polluted deltas for our opponent. Guess we can Evolving Wilds. I don't think there's a play on 3 that our opponent can make that'll punish us for playing a tap land. Yeah, they're hitting their land drops. So we just need an island here. Swamp and Duress. Hopefully getting rid of a Gideon. 2 digs. 2 horribly arise. What is that card? Well, we're definitely taking the Gideon and just passing. So they actually don't have a way to counter our dig either. And we can counter their first dig at least, which they can't cast yet anyway. So they drew another land. We know their hand. Horribly awry. Horribly awry. Dig, dig. Perfect information's nice. Alright. Dismal Backwater. Still a little bit away from digging. Our opponent drew another land. Yavimaya Coast. Ship the turn. We will negate this dig because that keeps them off of the mana to... Oh, they didn't even dig. Alright. Yavimaya Coast. Pass the turn. We're sort of just ticking up to an Ulamog very slowly. Definitely negating the dig. Green Warden is sweet. I guess we just pass. Try to dig on our opponent's turn. Did they draw a counter that can counter an actual spell? No. We get a Dispel, which is good, and a... Do we just want to land and literally try to ramp into our Ulamog? Yeah, let's take a land. Excellent. Duress was a great draw. Get to Duress. Goes with Scatter to the Winds. Do we want to fight over that? We could Dispel it. Yeah, let's Dispel. They only have one unknown card. Might be Ugin. Gideon. Should we take Gideon and let them dig? Yeah, I think that's fine. Take Gideon. Play a Green Warden. Get back a Duress or a Dig? Let's get back the Duress. That way we can, they're going to have to tap down quite a bit to dig, and then we can Duress and take whatever they dig for. Or they'll have to dig in response, and or they'll have to let us take the dig if they don't dig in response. They might just main phase dig. And Green Warden is naturally Wrath resistant. So they go with the dig, which is fine, because we can Duress. And we're up to 8 mana, so we're not that far away from being able to Ulamog. Maybe it would have been better to keep the dig through time. I'm not 100% sure. I do like Duress here, though. So we'll get in with Green Warden. We will Duress, Celestial Flare, Silk Wrap, Stasis Snare, and 2 Horribly Arise. So I guess we take Stasis Snare, play Screeching Scab, Land and War Waste, and pass the turn. If they Celestial Flare our Green Warden, it's not that bad, because then we get back a dig or something. Right, they get to Silk Wrap, take our Screeching Scab. Sure. Let's see if they Celestial Flare. So we'll attack with Green Warden. They Celestial Flare, we sack it. When it dies, we get our dig back. And now we can Screeching Scab. Which gets countered, but then they're tapped out. So now we dig. Duress, Opulent Palace, Duress. I guess we just exile it. And we get a... We take Duress and land and resolve our Ulamog. That might be good. We could also take Sidisi and land. We can take Necromantic Summoning and land. Yeah, what's the right play here? Definitely need a land, which will be Land of War Waste. And then I guess we can just take the Duress. And I think we'll Duress 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I guess we got to Duress now. Take the Silk Wrap, I guess, and ship the turn. If we waited to Duress, we wouldn't have been able to cast Ulamog unless we drew another land. Alright, Ulamog time. Did they draw an answer? Hardcasting Ulamog is not the plan, but we are getting there. So at Prairie Stream and Silkrap. Ooh, big game. So we milled a Dig and a Disdainful Stroke. Wouldn't mind another Green Warden, that would be sweet. 2 Ulamog's attacks is all it takes. There's a Green Warden. Well then. Well, let's play our Scab. Horribly Awry. Alright, then we will Green Warden. We're basically trying to get this dress back so we can make sure. Well, I guess we don't even need it, but our opponent scoops it up. Sweet! Out controlling the control deck. Oh, the hardcast Ulamog. Definitely not the plan of this deck, but we'll take it. It works. And it's sweet when it happens, just you don't expect that. We don't have any ramp really. I guess Leaf Gilder, but not much ramp, and only 24 lands, so actually casting Ulamog, it doesn't happen often, but it happened this game. And we just picked our opponent apart with Duresses. Good card.